Three big themes in the astrology for the week of December 16th. One, the mind. The mind. How is the mind? How is thinking? Have we over-identified with the mind? Did we get lost in the mind? Have thoughts gone awry? Are we sitting in a place of this, no, this, no, this, no, this? I don't know if this is super true. I'm not really sure. A little bit of chaos, fog, confusion. Maybe just wanting to get the heck out of all of it and escape into something like shopping like crazy for Christmas, or watching a lot of Netflix, or. So that's theme number one. I want to dive into that. Give us a ton of practices. There's also some really good stuff around that. So let's talk mind, mental realms, mental body. What the heck's going on there? Then I want to talk relationships. This is a week for relationships. Venus, goddess of love. If we were to look in a chart, the number one place that we would look when we want to see more about our own like relationship blueprint would be Venus. And Venus is doing a dance with Neptune, higher love, higher consciousness, the mystic. She's doing a dance with him on Tuesday. Then she's doing a dance with Jupiter, expansion, grace bomb, benevolent. I bet some of y'all will get engaged this week. Or I bet some of y'all will take your relationships to the deeper level. Or I bet some of y'all are going to have a little bit of like sex magic going on this week. This is a really, really good, powerful, beautiful week, supportive week for relationships. All right, third theme that I want to talk about. We got to talk about the mystic in all of us. We got to talk about the spiritual path. This is a week of Neptune, the mystic. I already mentioned that a little bit, but Neptune is starting to get really, really close to this node, to the nodes of fate. That's a big deal. This is a big deal. It's kind of pointing to the fact that if you want to come into your real purpose, you're going to have to get a little spiritual about it. If you really want to come into alignment with your true north, right, your highest potentials, there's a spiritual component to it. The spiritual component will unlock your deepest purposes. And unlocking your deepest purposes unlocks your greatest sense of fulfillment. Unlocks your greatest sense of joy, right? That's the joy, that's the fulfillment, that's the being alive, right? Being on purpose brings us alive and aligned. I like this lineup, but it's going to be a little interesting to work with, so I want to talk more about that. Also this week we lead into the solstice, and so we'll talk a little bit about the solstice too. So the solstice is happening on the 21st. That's when the sun goes into Capricorn. For some of us, it's the shortest day of the year. For some of us, it's the longest day of the year. This is a really great day to do ritual around, to do some sort of a ceremony, to mark, to honor. For some of us, it's a real time of seed planting. Darkest day of the year, you plant some seeds. It's a real, like from a sun, a solar standpoint, it's a real like ending for a beginning. It is. It's either the peak, the brightest day of the year, or the darkest day of the year. And that kicks off kind of another solar cycle. So that's a big deal. Some of us already, we do tons of stuff around it. Some of us we don't. Maybe you're called to. Kind of nice. I've done a few amazing, magical, wonderful, beautiful things where there's a lot of clarity that can come through on that day. So, all right, let's dive into some of this and see where we can get to. Let's talk mind first. Most of us identify primarily with our mind. You know, like I would identify more with my thoughts than I would identify with how my stomach is feeling, right? Or how tight my muscles are in my body, or my heart, what my heart is feeling. Most of us primarily identify with the mind and with thoughts. You know, whether that's good or bad, doesn't matter. But most of us, our primary identification is with the mind and the thoughts that are coming into the mind. Now, what is it that the mind is translating? If the mind is translating the heart, wow, beautiful, you're getting heart insights. If my mind is translating my gut, great, I'm getting gut insights. But what is your mind translating? That's a really good question. That's a powerful question. What is your mind attuned to? What is it translating? Mercury is messenger of the gods. What is your mind messenger of the god? What is it messengering? It's interesting. There's been a lot happening in the mind. A lot where the mind is almost like on the fritz. It's almost gone haywire. It's not able to cognize everything that's going on. It's trying to decipher a whole lot of information coming in. That full moon in Gemini really messed up the mind. That was just on Sunday. That was the 15th. Mercury retrograde in sign of Sagittarius. That completely messed up the mind. It basically messed up the mind. It like shuts the mind off, makes the mind go inward, look inward and go, what is it that we need to review and revise? Stuff has gone wrong. We need to fix it for your highest path forward. That's Sag. That's Sag. So the mind is on the fritz. But now let's talk about this week. That's a little bit of backstory of what we're just coming out of. Now, the mind is wanting, it's wanting to figure things out and go forward. It's wanting to figure things out and go forward. However, we've got Neptune. We've got Neptune square to the moon and then square to the sun on Wednesday. So square to the moon kind of happened just right after the full moon, like Sunday, Monday. And then we have the sun, conscious self. So the two parts of self that we most identify with in astrology for majority of humans on the planet would be Mercury, the mind, and sun, the conscious part of self. If you're super, super in tune with your emotions and your feminine side, right? Like super, 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 super in tune with those sides, you could say like moon, right? And if you're super, super in tune with like the feminine lover in you, you could say like Venus. She's also very loud in the astrology. If you're super, super, super in tune with your warrior, you could say Mars. They call them like the personal planets. The personal planets because they're closer to us and we can touch into them a little bit more. Parts of self. These are all parts of self, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this. So the other part of self that we very much identify with is conscious self. It's the part of me that I'm conscious of. I'm conscious of, I'm Sabrina. This is what I do in the world. This is who I identify as. You could also say it's ego self, conscious self, sun, right? So the sun is going to square Neptune. Neptune basically goes, that's not who you are. That's Neptune. He brings in the mystical fog. He brings in the sense of oneness. He brings in literally spiritual awareness. So any of us fighting against that this week from Monday to Wednesday, we're going to have a hard time. We're going to have a hard go at it. What Neptune's wanting to do is he's wanting to help you to lose yourself. Forget yourself. You are not your name. You are not your job. You are not the things that you thought you were. Ego dissolving. That's what Neptune wants to do. And he's going to. He's doing it. Now, if we can get in the boat and ride the wave of the dissolving of self, we can come out the other side on Thursday. Thursday is the most auspicious day of December. It is the most benefic. It is the most beautiful day in all of December. We can come out the other side on Thursday going, oh my God, I am new. I am reborn. It's really what Neptune's wanting to do. He's wanting to dissolve you into nothingness, to rebirth you into who you are now after the last couple of intense, like 3 weeks. 4 weeks. For some of us, it was a little bit longer, right? After the last couple of intense rewiring on internal structures. Internal structures have been rewired. How much you can cognize that, don't know, right? Like, don't know. Again, it's like, what is the mind able to translate? Where are you able to translate from? So the greatest things that we can do these first couple days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, meditate. Meditate your butt off. Really and truly meditate your butt off. Meditate your butt off. Go inward. Let yourself dissolve. It's really what all of the astrology is pointing to. Let yourself dissolve. Let the ego dissolve. Stop identifying with who you think you are so that you can be rebirthed into who you are becoming, who you are as a truer, fuller expression of self. Because you've gone through a lot of changes. Mercury retrograde brings a lot of changes. It's a complete realignment of self. That's another really good word for right now is realigning. And Neptune beautifully is coming in to dissolve you, dissolve everything, dissolve all the old wiring, dissolve all the old structures that don't serve, so that we can come out the other side on Thursday, new and fresh. So if there's anything I can say about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just dissolve. Spiritual practices are amazing. The one that I would super, super recommend in ReWilding, if you're an IX, if you're going through all of the archetypal embodiment, the archetypal activation, the initiation into all of these archetypes, you definitely want to do Neptune and you definitely want to do Mercury. I would also do Venus. I would do those three. If you have those three already, depends on how long you've been in IX, right? If you don't have those, right, IX is available. It's open. You could dive in today. It's a big year-long program, though. It's not for everybody. It's for those who are like prepared to go to like a mystery school, right? And awaken 36 different sacred energies in yourself. That ain't for everybody. I totally like honor that and appreciate that. Dragon sessions, we just added to holiday offers, though. Dragon sessions, it opens us up to the alchemist inside. It gives us an opportunity to work with dragon energy, which 2024 is the year of the dragon. we got another couple of weeks. So Year of the Dragon will go to the end of January, right? We got another couple of weeks in dragon energy. Dragon energy is all about our highest potentials. It's about awakening the highest potentials within you. It's you finding your wings, you moving to that higher potential. Now that's Neptune on the North Node. I mentioned that a tiny, tiny little bit. I've been talking about this mystic, this dissolving of the ego. So not only is Neptune dissolving the ego to sort us out from that Mercury retrograde, you've been rewired, you've been recalibrated, you've been realigned. Now let go of that final physical ego structure so that we can put you back together. It's like Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall and then you get put back together again on Thursday, right? Put back together again on Thursday, Neptune in alignment with your true north, your highest path forward. Dragon energy, working with dragon energy, it's kind of like working with the Kundalini energy, right? Some people call it like the new Kundalini. It's almost like a serpent, right? People identify Kundalini as the serpent, snake, serpent, right? Waking up within. Dragon energy is waking up to a serpent with wings, right? It also holds the masculine mysteries in it. So if we were talking about Kundalini and the serpent, that's just really holding the feminine mysteries. Working with dragon energy, at least in dragon sessions, and how we work with dragon energy is that it's the combination of the full mysteries of the feminine, the full mysteries of the masculine, right? The divine feminine, the divine masculine, the full mysteries in union. Dragon's a symbol of that. And so waking that up, right? The trifecta of energies, essentially, right? The divine masculine, divine feminine, and then that third energy, right? We could call it like the trinity, the trifecta, opening that third energy up when they come into union together. And that third energy brings you to creator consciousness, like creating with the creator. Y'all, if there's ever a time that I would say, I know some of you have dragon sessions. Some of you did the full dragon mystery school, right? The threefold path mystery school. Go back and revisit it these first couple of days. It's so perfect. If you don't have it, hop in. It's 50% off on holiday offer. We just added it last week. So if you've looked at holiday offers, it probably wasn't there. We put it in, I think Friday, we just added it because we were like, this is really good. It's $147 when it's 50% off. And right now it's 50% off. Okay. So that's a really good suggestion. Or a really good, whatever. It's just it's a possibility, a potential. But feel for you, right? Like feel for you. What would waken you up to your higher potentials? Maybe you've got some stuff in your back pocket. Maybe you've got some other practices. Maybe you've bought some other programs elsewhere and you're like, gosh, this called me at some point or is calling to me. It's a time to do it. Like right now, I'm really working deeply with Sekhmet. It's very new for me. That's a new archetypal energy. I haven't worked much with her, but every single night, it's like hours before I fall asleep of just working with Sekhmet. This was not my plan at all. Not my plan, right? But working with her, and I'm actually working with someone who has worked with her for, I think, 2 decades or 3 decades already, right? So it's like super speeding it. So I'm not like fumbling around, it's like the container's been created for me. The journey, it's a guided journey. The container's created, of course, I, like to take my little rabbit holes and like follow my own inner guidance. And I would suggest you do that with whatever. But feeling into, what is it that you are really called to around your own spiritual awakening? Because your own spiritual awakening is getting deeper and deeper and deeper and truer and truer and truer and truer, more related to your purpose. It's going to be, as these nodes of fate shift, they're moving into the spiritual sign of Virgo and Pisces. That's just the spiritual axis. So we're going to have 18 months of that. Neptune being on the North Node. Y'all, we ain't getting away from it. You want to wake up to your purpose, what it is that you're here to do in this lifetime, it's going to be linked to your spirituality. And this is just like a little foreshadowing to it, this moment in time where Neptune's really loud, squaring the sun, basically dissolving the ego, basically giving us this moment in time to be mystical, to do our spiritual practices, because he's going to pull you into it no matter what. Might as well not go kicking and screaming, trying to do your accounting work this week, trying not to make big decisions and be really realistic and ground things in, right? This is not a moment for reality 3D world. It is a moment for just letting self dissolve so that we can then come back together on Thursday, more in alignment with all the deep changes that happened. Crazy, right? Crazy. Okay, so let's go to Thursday now. This conversation's getting longer than I anticipated. I'm hoping it's serving. I hope it's serving. So coming on Thursday, we have Jupiter trine Venus. Jupiter trine Venus. Remember I said another theme for this week was relationships? So Thursday is like the most auspicious day of all of December. This is just a really grace-filled, benevolent day for the goddess of love. Now, goddess of love represents more than just intimate relationships, but very strongly, this is going to point to relationships. Maybe also if you're single, it could point to what it is that you're really deeply desiring around relationship, around connecting, around sensuality. So Venus also brings up its goddess of love, goddess of beauty, goddess of sensuality, all of that feminine, like feminine pleasure, right? That's Venus. That's Venus. So really bringing that up. Jupiter expands everything. Jupiter expands things. Jupiter is a grace bomb. So Jupiter is going to be grace bombing and expanding the other, what would be considered in astrology, benefic, which would be Venus. So that's just really beautiful. Good day, Thursday, good day to kind of come out of mystic mind, right? And really go from the heart, love. And let yourself expand. If you can stay in kind of like mystic mind and some spiritual stuff on Thursday, sacred sexuality, crazy powerful on Thursday, right? Things like that. Pleasure practices, crazy powerful on Thursday. Anything like that, like working with feminine principles on Thursday, if you were to work on, like I was talking about Kundalini, remember the serpent rising. You just do some Kundalini practices. You do some Shakti practices. I know a lot of you have body wisdom activation. That's working with the feminine Shakti, Kundalini awake in your body. And that's just really opening up all the wisdom of the body, more of the wisdom of the feminine. That's powerful on Thursday. Any kind of feminine reclamation type work can be really, really beautiful on Thursday as well. Tuesday, I want to just go back to Tuesday. I know I've talked about mystic mind, but on Tuesday, we have Venus in a half square to Neptune. So Venus, same archetypal energy we were just talking about, that part of self that is the feminine, the love, or goddess of love and beauty, right? Sensuality, pleasure, is in a half square to Neptune. This is magic. It's like the mystic. Now it's like mystic. The mystic dancing with, and Neptune's a lover. Neptune is considered to be Poseidon, linked to Poseidon, who's the one who got Medusa in trouble, right? Like Poseidon's got some sexuality going on, and that's Neptune. And Neptune also brings in higher heart. I mean, this could be a really magical, beautiful day for diving into sex magic. Like sex magic or sensual magic, right? Or Medusa mysteries could be really loud. Some of you I know have like some Medusa practices, or you've done Medusa in IX, like I was talking about a little earlier. Very powerful. Our lover workshop can really, really support both Tuesday and Thursday. So if you're like dragon sessions, Sabrina, I don't know, that seems like a lot. Go check out the lover workshop. Lover workshop will open up that face of the feminine, which is the lover. It opens us up to our sensuality. It opens us up to our, also sacred sexuality is on holiday offer too. So that's another one. I think that one's at 50% off too. So that's another really good thing to be doing this week around this real opening up to more sex magic. If you're like, I need a held container, where do I start? I don't know, Sabrina. Sounds great. Go check that one out. I want to say that's, I don't know what, it's either, it's like around the price point of dragon sessions, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I don't actually know. Sorry. Numbers when I'm doing this aren't the greatest for me. All right, let's keep talking. So Friday is going to be an interesting day because we have Mars, god of war. So the part of self that's a masculine warrior, he's retrograde. So he's kind of going on an inward journey, trying to figure out what he's fighting for. He's going to be opposing Ceres, Demeter, Great Mother. So he's opposing Ceres, Demeter, Great Mother. An opposition is a challenging aspect. So there could be some stuff around like keeping your ego in check. You know, what is your warrior's relationship to the Great Mother? What is your warrior's relationship? And we could say Great Mother, we could say Earth, we could say the fullness of the feminine, we could say any kind of mother aspects around the feminine. It's an interesting dance. I don't think that that's going to be super loud. I think we're still going to be so very much in this Neptune energy that may not be at play all that much. I already talked about Wednesday. That's the big day where the sun squares Neptune. I mean, that is like the peak of the Neptune energy around the sun, which is primary identity. So that's kind of like the ego's dissolve. Sort of why I'm saying like Friday, I don't know, because the ego's going to still be kind of in that dissolved place, trying to kind of piece itself back together. I don't think Friday's going to show up as super hot around that opposition. Sunday, this is when the sun goes into Capricorn at 1:20 a.m. Pacific time. So that's the actual peak of the solstice. So if you're wondering like, hey, when is the actual solstice? I want to do some ritual on the solstice. It's 1:20 a.m. Pacific time. That is when it is marking either the shortest day of the year or the longest day of the year. You can kind of feel into that for yourself. And like what might support you in that? What if you are called to do anything in that? So for me, like the longest night of the year, there's like a stillness, and it's like a tipping point. That's how I always feel about it. It's like a dark, hibernating. I'm quiet. I'm recovering in the dark. It's like a rejuvenation in the dark, a regeneration that's happening in the dark. And then to honor the tipping point, to honor that tipping point of like, okay, and I've made it through the darkest of the dark, and now it's going to start to get lighter. And then you can just reverse that, right? Maybe it's been an outward expression if you're in the summer solstice where it's the most amount of light, the most amount of sun during the day. It's been an outward solar, sun, a lot. And then you can honor that tipping point. It's just good to bring consciousness to it. You don't have to do anything super crazy unless you're called to, do what serves, do what supports you, but honoring that tipping point. To me, I found that to be super, super helpful. So I don't get like, parts of me are like stuck in like hibernation, or parts of me are stuck in like the dark of the night and like the quiet and the inward journey that it is for me anyways. That just being real conscious and honoring that tipping point and just like getting it through the whole of my system. I think that's one of the biggest themes overall right now is this like integration piece, where getting it through the whole of our system, getting my mind on board with my heart, on board with my gut, on board. If we can think about the different areas of our body, like the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, the spiritual body. I think this is a really beautiful moment in time, especially after this Neptune phase through Thursday. Then to really go, that Venus piece can be very much about embodiment. The feminine is really good for embodiment. Lover practices, pleasure practices, sex magic practices are really good for integration and embodiment. And to move all of these changes that have been made, the rewiring, the realignment, that's gone on with the Mercury retrograde, with that full moon that just happened. With the last couple of weeks, it's been a lot of change pretty rapidly. And then to bring that in to a more embodied experience, bring it down through the whole of your body. I like bringing it all the way down into my bones, like bring the change into my bones. I don't just want my mind thinking one thing, but then my heart on another trajectory. I got to bring it into my heart. And then I got to bring it down into my gut. I don't want my gut, like still out of alignment with it, or my tailbone a little bit out of alignment with it because my tailbone is holding on to like safety and security. Like, I don't know about this change. There's big change coming. There's big change coming. I think we are all starting to tap into it. It's just how conscious are we of it? How conscious of we are, and how my biggest practice, maybe this will serve you in some way. My biggest practice has been just around alignment. Let me come into full alignment, like my bone structure wanting to come into alignment, my mental realms being rewired to come into alignment, the alignment of what it is that somewhere on some level I have shifted into, right? Maybe feel for you if that feels true. I know a lot of people that I've been talking about, we've all felt like, ooh, my like soul spirit self has shifted into something. And now like the physical body is like the caboose on the train, it's like trying to get it there. And so conscious practice around that, even just having this conversation, is bringing consciousness to it. All right, my goodness, I am wildly excited for Thursday this week. I'm also wildly excited for the spiritual practices and the spiritual awakenings that are able to happen. This is really, really a beautiful couple of days when we like get in the boat and just like let ourselves ride the wave. Can be really great for creativity, can be really great for spiritual awakening, can be really great for that, like I said, dissolving of who we were. Remember, we just had a full moon. We're still headed toward the new moon. So it's not like it's a new, like a new moon cycle yet. It's now like the shedding. It's the shedding, the moon has peaked, it's come to the culmination, and now it's the shedding, it's the letting go. It's the shedding. And like part of it is the shedding of the ego structure. And that's what Neptune's going to want to do. All right. Massive love to you. Maybe I'll see you in Dragon Sessions. Maybe I'll see you in the Lover Workshop. Maybe I'll see you in IX for the 36 wonderful, wild, beautiful, big archetypal activations. All right. Huge love to you all. Have an amazing week.